We will see the Oregon Ducks in their spring football game and kick things off by hearing from Mark Helfrich when we come back. A slightly overcast morning in Eugene, but no dampening the enthusiasm. They were lined up outside the stadium by 9 this morning to get in as the Ducks take the field wearing uniforms, once again honoring in part military service, those who serve the state of Oregon as well. That's been a theme of the Oregon Spring Games the last few years. There's perfect, very fitting accompaniment. The Oregon players with uniform members of the military. The backs of the jerseys today, instead of players' names, will say "Salute the State."
Yeah, nice job they've done with them. The patches on the side, of course, the flag facing that way as it does on military uniforms. They've done the service ribbons in a patch on one side, featuring the colors of each Pac-12 opponent, an opponent of the next season.
The colors being presented now to the center of the field.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oregon football has done a very impressive job of turning their spring game into a day.
Very much, Coach. One of the best years in Oregon football history last season. What can you do to make sure that there's not a drop-off going into this season?
Just consistently work harder to improve, and that's what we're all about. That's our whole existence, kind of what we reinforce all the time. And there's a bunch of guys that are out there to prove themselves today, and hopefully they'll just relax and play.
How's life been without Marcus Mariota, turning that new page, getting a new chapter of Oregon football?
Well, you have to do that, and if it's losing one guy or multiple guys every year, there's things that I think people don't realize how big are, that aren't just that one guy that you lose, and our culture, our chemistry has to take over, and it has.
What are you looking for here today?
I'm looking to honor the troops. I know you can tell by our get up. What is it? Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So we're trying to flatter the men and women that have served our country, and then have a lot of fun. Hopefully, stay healthy.
In football, when you have a great year, the worry is that you will have that in Alabama. Big breakaway.
It's Thomas Tyner gets the first carry, and of course the Ducks coming right out. The teams have been split in a draft. One thing, Glenn, as we'll see the format for the game, the teams are playing 10-minute quarters in the first half and then running clock in the second half. Jeff Locke now coming out, and he's got on his side today Royce Freeman, Byron Marshall. And right away, the pitch back, and he's got his man. Locke delivers it to Marshall.
Lockheed with the ball deep to Marshall. That second half of your defense, that back level, and of course, you know, you can hide it with schemes, you can hide it with personnel up front, but eventually in close games they'll get found out. So they're going to really be looking for that next group of guys to step up.
You see Autzen Stadium like this for a spring football game. It gives you an idea what Oregon football has achieved, how proud Oregon is of this program, how great it's been for the Pac-12 conference. No one's kidding anybody. Time there where they say they've both been very good tacklers, but this is Nelson on the offense.
And that's what you like to see. Wide receivers out helping each other, blocking down the field for you. Dwayne Stanford right there. Hands are inside tight, so there's no possibility of a hold because the official's right on it. Thomas Tyner, another explosive back. Oregon just loaded with offensive weapons again. That chip on your shoulder can really help you when you get in camp.
All right, that was a backwards throw. This is a long forwards throw, and that's a big play.
That's what I like. And this is a little lateral back. Nice form, steps into it, and throws his man open. That's a nice ball.
This is Travis Johnson from Servite High in Anaheim. And again, one of the handful of early admits to Oregon that have been able to get here and participate in spring ball. But this is a name that could be a big one come August. And Vernon Adams had huge games, including against Oregon State.
His style of play will remind Oregon fans of a Jeremiah Masoli.
Yeah, you said that.
More in that
It's
vein.
a good one. Yeah.
Not as tall as Marcus Mariota.
Well, here's what we touched on. An extraordinary year. It was just a great season for Pac-12 football in 2014, and here's part of the proof of it. 7 of the top 20, 9 overall in the first round. Jeff Locke, the most experienced of the returners and the contenders, and he has been given an awful lot of praise by Mark Helfrich.
You know, he played in this offense in high school down in the Bay Area. He's a very athletic. He's got, you know, it could be as simple for him as a few games of playing with all the talent around him rather than doing it in mop-up duty at the end of games when he's got guys that aren't used to playing together.
So we'll pick up on that topic when we come back. First quarter finished of the Oregon spring game. Winning the conference championship, and Oregon earned a spot in the first college football playoff in the Rose Bowl, fitting in the matchup of the brilliant quarterbacks, Winston and Mariota. But it was a day the Ducks dominated.
And they dominated offensively and defensively. It was, I think, for Pac-12 fans, certainly fun to watch and a point of pride.
Running backs, this is the, now as you referenced, Glenn, we're going to get to that part of spring games that mean a lot to players like Kanai Benoit to get a chance to play in 5 out of the 6 big categories.
And when you look at that 10-plus yard plays, that's just chunks of yardage they were getting, and they were first in the nation there, and that shows you how efficient the offense was, because in reality, what's most important to them is first downs. They don't get to third down that often. They were 8th and 3rd downs.
All right, Taylor Ali back for the goal now as possession goes again to Addison. Back to Taylor Ali. And of course, they haven't blown the whistle on that one. What a lift it will be for the Ducks in the fall. And Braylon Addison continues on his very recent, it's just been recent where they feel like he's getting it back.
Yeah, it takes so long to come back from injury, and good straight arm here. And you see the speed, the explosiveness that Braylon Addison has. If they can bring him back, remember, you had Byron Marshall last year, a running back that moved into the wide receiver spot. He had over 1,000 yards receiving. What a great 1-2 punch. You get those two guys with Carrington out there.
As a famous former Duck quarterback. And he's now going to join a list. It's been something so impressive when you come to Oregon football.
Is declined. Second down.
The last few years, it's something we've seen with other great programs. USC comes to mind right away in this conference, where the former players come back. When they had their bye weeks in the pros, they come back.
Yeah, and this is a place that certainly is that way, you know.
along with Florida State, Oregon, the only two teams in major college football, the last 6 years have not allowed a kick return or punt return touchdown. 6 years they haven't allowed one. And the Ducks themselves, and that's where Addison comes in, have scored 19 of those touchdowns. Funny thing about Oregon, even though it's a shorter quarter and they'll have running time in the second half, they'll still run 1,000 plays.
Oh, yeah.
Ty Griffin, well, as a man out there, let's see, is that going to be ruled a catch? I believe so.
That's Charles Nelson playing DB.
Yes, it is.
Kept his eye on the ball. What a great job adjusting to that ball to get the interception.
All right, so Charles Nelson has caught it both ways today. He's caught 2 passes, including a touchdown. Here he catches one from the other side.
It's been a dream come true. Always been a Duck fan since I was younger. So playing for the golf team is unreal. It's a thrill, like when you're able to represent a school like this.
No Ducks.
It's incredible. Once you're on the tee, you're representing an incredible university. It's awesome. I'm Salman Raza, and I play golf for the University of Oregon.
Chris Mariota, who has gone from Honolulu to Nashville to Eugene in the last 48 hours.
That's a whirlwind tour. But I'll tell you what, I bet there's very few places he'd rather be than right here, right now.
A couple of years ago, Glenn, we came here, and I think it was his first year starting, and we had a chance to meet him and talk with him the day before a game, and you get through the story about him deciding to come here, even though at the same time they were recruiting another quarterback named Manziel.
Well, yeah, it's not only just other people telling everybody that Tony Brooks James is a little LaMichael-esque. His coaches in high school were telling him, you need to look at Oregon. DeAnthony Thomas and LaMichael James, they're the type of running back that you are. The coaches, when he got in here, he was banged up a little bit, but when he was fully healthy, they were starting to tell each other, listen, you got to watch this kid. You have to see what he is able to do in practice. And they've said that about it seemingly every Oregon running back that comes through here. They just have a stable of guys that are able to come in here and produce right away.
The Oregon Ducks, they have a couple of challenging road games. They have the return game with Michigan State this year. And, of course, in conference, they have to play at Arizona State and at Stanford. But there could be an awful lot of interest on September 5 here.
Interesting to see the North if it can become more balanced.
Well, this has been some first half for Charles Nelson, hasn't it?
Take a look at this. He's got guys out there, but he's got nowhere to go, and he's running the wrong way.
And now taking off there is Jaylen Brown. And he's down inside the 10.
Great blocking out front for him. His big offensive linemen, they're out running in front of him. See out here, number 90, number 78, number 71 right there, Braden Eggert. Great receivers, good running backs.
Addison's a quarterback today, huh?
We saw him deliver one strike.
There's a little bit of a Russell Wilson impression, and eventually finds Carrington for a touchdown.
What's fun here is you get the idea that Coach Frost and Coach Helfrich are kind of playing with the rest of the Pac-12, showing them all this crazy stuff. I don't know. His form is lacking. He needs to get in the gym a little. See a little issue with the snap again.
Oops. There's a little issue on the defense. And that is fully capitalized on by Nelson. Nelson saying, this defensive thing, Coach, you sure? Let me show you this. Of course, that got made a little easy for him. But
yeah, what happens? Your corner comes up. Your safety's got to play. You got to insert. That was a really nicely thrown ball right there. What you see is he puts it out into a very small window, over two defenders and in front of one for Carrington here.
Look at that, even on the river. That's a different sort of water sport.
Ooh,
I like that flip.
Wow. I don't think I want to do that. I'm not coming back
Parker
up.
usually goes on the water standing up. You're usually not seated.
Usually not seated. No, I'm not a kayaker. That is not what I do. I'd be out there fly fishing, maybe. That would be fun. See that? I'd never come back up. I did that.
That's great. Trust me, that'll be an Olympic sport sometime in our life. You watch. The intermission. I like it. Sounds very theatrical, does it?
It does. You are correct.
Intermission of the Oregon spring football game.